Welcome back to English online classes. Today we are going to discuss the lesson The Making of a Scientist from your supplementary textbook. Richard Ebright is one of the leading scientists. He has contributed significantly to biochemistry and molecular biology. When Ebright was a little child, he used to collect butterflies, rocks, fossils and coins. He was an eager stargazer too, but he was mainly interested in butterflies. During his school as well as college days, he did many experiments for which he was awarded many prizes. Most of his experiments were on butterflies. These experiments were a milestone in the world of science. Before moving on to the lesson, to know more about Richard Ebright, let's know about the writer Robert W. Peterson. Robert W. Peterson was born in 1925 in Pennsylvania. He was an American newspaper writer who later became a freelance author of magazine articles and books, especially on the topics of sports and scouting. Now let's move on to the summary of the lesson, The Making of a Scientist by Robert W. Peterson.
Richard H. Ebright, along with his roommate, surprised the world at the young age of 22 when they explained the theory on how cells work in a paper published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science. This valuable magazine had published the work of college students for the first time. For Richard Ebright, it was one of the many achievements that he achieved later in his life. He says that all this curiosity started with butterflies. Ebright grew up in Pennsylvania and was the only child of his parents. He could have not done much there as there were very less people living there. He says that he could only do one thing alone, and that was collecting things, as he had no friends to play football or baseball with. He had begun collecting butterflies, rocks, fossils and coins from the time when he was in kindergarten. He also used to keep on staring at the stars, and sometimes the whole night, as he was interested in studying astronomy. Ebright had always been curious to learn new things and had a sharp mind. His mother used to encourage him to learn. She used to take him on learning trips, used to buy him telescopes and other instruments that would help him in learning new things. His mother was his only friend until he went to school. After he started going to school, his mother would get his friends home. He and his mother used to stay together at night, and they used to do and learn things together. Ebright, who was nicknamed Richie by his mother, was her whole life and support system. After his father died when he was in 3rd grade, they used to spend most of the evenings together. If he did not have anything to do, his mother would find him some task for learning. He used to like the learning work that his mother used to give him, as that was what he wanted to do, learn about more and more new things. He was a bright student, as he used to score good in class and also was regular in his daily tasks. By the time he was in 2nd class, he had collected all the 25 species of butterflies that were found in his neighborhood. He thought that it would have been the end of his butterfly collection if his mother would have not got him a children's book called The Travels of Monarch X. The book told how the monarch butterflies migrated to Central America, which was the turning point for Ebright as it turned his curiosity towards science. At the end of the children's book that his mother had got him, the readers of the book were invited to help the study of butterfly migrations. They were asked to tag butterflies by Dr. Frederick A. Urquhart of the University of Toronto in Canada. Richie's mother wrote to the doctor, and soon, he was attaching adhesive tags to the wings of the butterflies. The person who would find a butterfly with a tag was asked to send the tag to Dr. Urquhart. The butterfly collecting season lasted for around 6 weeks. Then Ebright understood that if he kept on collecting butterflies one by one, he would not be able to collect many. So, the next step he took was that he decided to raise a flock of butterflies in his basement. He used to catch a female butterfly, collect its eggs and raise them in his basement through their proper life cycles. Then he used to tag the wings of the butterflies and would let them go. There were thousands of monarchs in his basement, growing in different life stages, for many years. Soon, he started losing interest in tagging butterflies as it was a very slow and tiring process. It also did not get him much response. He said that out of the many butterflies that he tagged, only 2 could be recaptured by people, and those 2 were not more than 75 miles away from where he lived. When he was in 7th class, he came to know what real science was as he lost at a county science fair. It was a really sad feeling for him to see all other people win something while he did not win anything. He showed frog tissue slides under a microscope but realized that all the winners had actually tried to perform an experiment and not just make a neat display out of their projects. He had already started developing the competitive spirit inside him. Now he had decided that he would be making a real project for the next year's fair. He thought and realized that he had maximum knowledge about the subject of insects as he had been studying them for quite some time now. He wrote to Dr. Ebright for ideas and he sent back a lot of ideas for his next year's project. He remained busy with those ideas all throughout his high school and won many prizes. In his 8th class, he tried to find the cause of a viral disease that killed nearly all monarch caterpillars every few years. Ebright thought that the disease was being transmitted through beetles, so he started raising caterpillars in the presence of beetles. It was of no use, but when he showed that he had tried such an experiment, he won something for his project. For the next year, he tried the theory that viceroy butterflies copy monarchs. He put forward the theory that viceroy butterflies look like monarchs because monarchs do not taste good to the birds and birds like to eat viceroys. So, the more the viceroy looked like the monarch, the less likely it is that viceroy would be eaten by a bird. He wanted to show in his project that would a bird eat monarchs or not. He found out that the sterling bird would prefer eating a monarch. Later research showed that the viceroys copied the monarchs. This project won him the first division in the zoology department and the 3rd overall position in the county science fair. During his 2nd year of high school, Richard started a research from which he found about an unknown insect hormone that later helped him in his new theory about the life of cells as well. The question from where the research started was very simple as to what was the purpose of the 12 tiny gold spots on a monarch pupa. Most of the people said that the spots were made for making it look more decorative but dry. Ebright did not believe in what others said. To find the answer to this question, Ebright and another excellent science student together made a device that proved that these spots produced a hormone necessary for the full development of a butterfly from a pupa. With this, Ebright won the first prize at the county science fair and the entry to International Science and Engineering Fair. There, his project won 3rd prize for zoology. He also got a chance to work at the entomology laboratory of the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. He continued his work with the monarch pupa as a high school junior, and that led him to win the first prize at the International Science Fair. After winning this prize, he also got a chance to work at the Army laboratory during summers. Then during his senior year, he tried another experiment in which he grew cells from a monarch's wing in a culture and showed that cells would divide and develop into a normal butterfly wing scales provided that they were treated with the hormone from the gold spots. This research of his won the first prize at the International Fair, and he spent his summer after graduation doing more research on the subject at the Army Laboratory and the Laboratory of U.S. Department of Agriculture. Then he worked some more on the hormone released from the gold spots during the following summers at the Laboratory of the Agriculture Department. He identified the chemical structure of the hormone using the lab's special equipment. After 1.5 years, Ebright got the idea for his new theory, which was about the cell life. The idea came to him when he was looking at the X-ray photos of the chemical structure of the hormone. He did not get excited about his discovery as soon as he found it, but came to a realization that his years of study on the insect hormone had solved one of the puzzles of biology. It had solved the mystery of how cells read the blueprint of its DNA. He found that as the DNA is in the nucleus of a cell that controls heredity, therefore, it determines the form and function of a cell. Hence, DNA is the blueprint of life. Then Ebright and his roommate made drawings and plastic models for the theory which showed how it was possible, and later wrote a paper which explained the process. It did not surprise the people who knew him that he graduated from Harvard with highest honors and stood second in his class among 10 students. He then became a graduate student researcher at the Harvard University and also started doing practical experiments to test his theory. It was expected that if the theory proved to be correct, then it would be a big step towards understanding the complex system of life and also would lead to new ideas for preventing certain types of cancer and other diseases. So, this showed how his research on the monarch pupa led him to a theory about cell life. He had been keen in science ever since he started collecting butterflies, but this did not keep him away from his other interests in life. He was a champion debater, a great public speaker, and a good boat racer canoeist. He was also an all-round outdoor sports person along with being an expert photographer. He was great at capturing nature and scientific subjects. As he was a great student and always used to score good, he used to focus his extra energy on debating and model United Nations clubs. He also used to admire his social studies teacher and an advisor to both clubs, Mr. Richard A. Ebright thought that his teacher was the right man as he was the one who used to open his mind to new ideas. His teacher was impressed with the fact that how Ebright would give an extra 3 to 4 hours of effort at night for the debate research apart from the time that he used to give to his butterfly research and his other interests. He added that he was competitive but not in a bad sense because he did not win to get prizes or for the sake of winning but because he wanted to be the best at whatever he did. This is what makes a good scientist. He needs a first-rated mind along with curiosity and an added will to win for the right reasons. Since the time Richard's mother got him the book about migration of monarchs, his curiosity towards science has just grown.
Now you listen to the meanings of new vocabularies used in this lesson. Scout, a member of the Scout Association or a similar organization. Proceedings, a published report of a set of meetings or a conference. Journal, a newspaper or magazine that deals with a particular subject. Making the big leagues, in a field of tough competition and high rewards, the largest or foremost of its kind. Monarch butterflies, a large migratory orange and black colored butterfly that occurs mainly in North America. Migrations, seasonal movement of animals from one region to another. Adhesive, able to stick fast to a surface or object, sticky. Flock, a large number of birds of one kind feeding, resting, or traveling together. Life cycle, the series of changes in the life of an organism including reproduction. Tedious, too long, slow or dull, tiresome or monotonous. County, region. Subject, a person or thing that is being discussed, described or dealt with. Stack, a pile of objects, typically one that is neatly arranged. Viral, of the nature of, caused by or relating to a virus or viruses. Starling, it's a songbird. Zoology, the scientific study of the behavior, structure, physiology, classification, and distribution of animals. Canoeist. A canoeist is someone who is skilled at racing and performing tests of skill in a canoe. Ornamental. Serving or intended as an ornament, decorative. Sophisticated means advanced. Blueprint, a design plan or technical drawing. Nucleus, the central and most important part of an object, movement or group forming the basis of its activity and growth. The last word, heredity. It is the passing on of physical or mental characteristics genetically from one generation to another. Now listen to important questions and answers.
What rare achievement did Richard manage at the age of 22?
Richard had a rare honor at the age of 22. He wrote an article with his friend about a theory of how cells work. The article was published in the scientific journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Science. No one had this achievement at such a young age before him.
How did Ebright's mother help him in becoming a scientist?
Richard's mother made Richard the center of her life. She would buy microscopes, telescopes, and books for him. She arranged trips for him and would also prepare difficult tasks for him. This helped him to learn a lot.
How did the travels of Monarch X prove a turning point in his life?
Richard was bored with collecting butterflies. At this time, his mother got the book The Travels of Monarch X for him. After reading the book, he studied the migration of butterflies and it opened the world of science to him.
Which project did Richard undertake in the 8th grade?
Richard undertook the project to find the cause of a viral fever that had killed thousands of butterflies. He thought that a beetle might carry the virus, although he was not able to prove it.
Mention any two of Ebright's contributions to the world of science.
Ebright discovered a hormone that was necessary for the growth of a butterfly. His other important contribution proved to be his study of how cells read their DNA.
In addition to science, what were the other interests of Richard?
Apart from science, Richard was a good debater and a public speaker as well as a canoeist and an all-round outdoors person. He loved photography as well.
Ebright's study of monarch pupus had a far-reaching impact. Elaborate.
For a long time, the scientific community had regarded the bright spots on a monarch pupa as purely ornamental. But Dr. Urquhart did not believe it. Nor did Richard. He started his experiments on the monarch pupa. He built a device with the help of a friend. This led to the discovery of a hormone. Richard proved that the hormone was necessary for the growth of the butterfly. This discovery got him many honors. Also, it led to another important study. He began working on how cells read their DNA. DNA is the carrier of heredity and is called the blueprint of life. His theory could find answers to many cancers and diseases.
Dr. Urquhart contributed significantly to Ebright's growth as a scientist. Explain.
Richard had become bored with collecting butterflies. His mother got him a book on the migration of butterflies. Richard came in contact with Dr. Urquhart through the book. Dr. Urquhart directed him to study the migration pattern of butterflies. When he did not win any prize in the science fair in 7th grade, he again wrote to Dr. Urquhart to guide him. The scientist gave him many suggestions for new experiments. Richard performed these experiments throughout his high school and won many prizes. Later, he worked on why bright spots are found on a monarch pupa, motivated by Dr. Urquhart. It led to the discovery of a new hormone. The discovery of this new hormone further led to an important theory. The theory was about how cells read their DNA. In this way, Dr. Urquhart proved to be his true mentor.
What are the values required to become a successful scientist like Richard Ebright? Elaborate with reference to the lesson, The Making of a Scientist.
Curiosity to know more and a motivation to find reasons for existence of anything or any phenomena are necessary for becoming a successful scientist. The urge to know more develops the scientific aptitude in a person. At a very young age, Ebright became competitive by participating in various county fairs. He never lost hope and kept on trying to do better. In addition to curiosity and motivation, Ebright displayed the qualities of hard work, sincerity, determination and patience. He also accepted failure and success in the right spirit. Thus, he became a successful scientist.
Richard Ebright was a curious child, observing the phenomena around him keenly, and these traits contributed to his evolution into a scientist. Do you think such qualities should be encouraged in children?
Richard was an exceptional child with rare qualities of intelligent observation and keen interest in the nature of things. The traits of his successful career were nurtured and honed during his childhood itself. These qualities are definitely desirable in every child, and the curiosity should never be curbed or discouraged. Providing logical answers to the queries goes a long way to develop a scientific way of thinking and problem solving. Children learn to analyze the things and come to logical conclusions, and this is indeed the correct learning procedure.
What were the factors which contributed in making Ebright a scientist?
Richard Ebright had some innate character traits that are the prerequisites for the making of a scientist. He had, besides an intelligent mind, the curiosity to seek information, keen observing powers, perseverance, patience as well as self-discipline, which are the basic requirements for any scientific research. And the credit also goes to his mother for recognizing his inclinations and curiosity. She not only encouraged and supported him, but also provided the required stimulus through books and other materials.
Failure is the stepping stone to success. Elucidate with reference to Richard Ebright.
When Ebright was in the 7th grade, he participated in a country science fair and lost it. His entry was slides of frog tissues, shown under a microscope. He felt really sad when he just sat there and others won many prizes. That was the time of motivation. A sense of real science entered him, and he realized that winners had to try to do real experiments and not just a simple neat display. The competitive spirit started entering him, and he thought of conducting experiments. Next year, his experiment on viceroys copying monarchs came first in the zoology division and overall third. Next year, he found out an unknown insect hormone which led him to his new theory on the life of cells. From Ebright's story, it is sufficiently clear that defeat is the stepping stone of success. Not winning anything at the science fair encouraged him greatly to conduct experiments.
Failure is inevitable. Therefore, one must not be afraid of them. Before Thomas Alva Edison invented the electric light bulb, he tried innumerable times. But each of his attempts burst into pieces. He did not give up, he kept on trying until he succeeded. On being asked how he felt about his failed attempts, Edison replied, "I have not failed. I just found 10,000 ways that won't work." The lesson to be learned here is that success and failure go hand in hand. Until and unless we fail, we don't become aware of our shortcomings. Many people do not realize that failure is really a stepping stone to success. Instead of having a positive outlook on failure and learning lessons from it, they only view the negative aspect of failure. Those who consider failure an opportunity to do better, never let it overwhelm themselves. Such people succeed in life, sooner or later, because they have faith in themselves. Such people may or may not be optimists, but when they resolve to overcome their weaknesses or shortcomings, their focus automatically shifts to the lessons they can learn from it. In conclusion, failure and setbacks are a normal part of life. They make us understand where we can improve and encourage us to persist. It is the wise who takes advantage of their failures.